going to film a video all about slow living rhythms and routines, and then things happened, and yeah, my day looked quite a bit different. I'm still going to be talking on this subject today, but as I started filming, I actually got a message to ask if I could teach a last-minute yoga class because the teacher wasn't able to come to the studio in time. So that changed things. That means I actually had quite a different day than I was planning to have today. So my reaction to this was actually quite interesting. I had my nice calm morning, really enjoyed that. Then I said yes to doing this class and I freaked out pretty much right after I said yes, which I didn't quite expect. I think this in part has to do with my autism, and I do have some difficulty with like plans changing, especially last minute. It's not as bad if something falls through and now I have more time, but if I need to add something into my plans for the day, that does have an impact on like me mentally and even physically. Like I have a physical reaction to it. It's kind of interesting actually. So I freaked out. I was in tears. I really had to kind of calm myself down and be like, okay, it's okay. Your day is not going to look like what you planned it was going to look like, but that's okay. It's fine. Like nothing to stress out about, really not. So I got ready, I taught the class, and I am back. Also did June's walk in between. Opened this up in between. That was actually kind of interesting. I guess you get to know yourself better each and every day. Anyway, I'm back. Class went well. So I think we have both daily rhythms and routines as well as weekly, monthly, maybe even yearly. And I think all of those are really important and can add a lot of value into your life. Rhythms and routines have always felt safe. They give a gentle structure to my days that helps me thrive instead of just survive in this busy world. They make sure that I take the time to do the things that are actually important to me, to prioritize my values in my daily life. If you have followed me for longer, you know that I love my slow mornings. They are so healing for me. When possible, I will wake up without an alarm, but even on the days that I do set an alarm, I usually wake up before that even gets a chance to go off. And I love that. I think waking up without an alarm actually allows me to start my day in a way more gentle and calm way, instead of having the stress of an alarm clock waking you up, which is not ideal in my opinion. Now personally, I am a morning person, which helps a lot with this. I know that's not the case for everyone, and in case you didn't know, yes, there is actually such a thing as a morning person or a night owl or just something in between. It is actually a physical trait, and while you can slightly change it, it's very difficult to do that and actually make your body like internalize that change. While I am a morning person and I love to get up early, it's not always easy to actually get out of bed in the morning when, you know, it's kind of cold outside of your bed. However, the promise of tea when I do get out of bed is usually the thing that actually makes me excited to get out of bed and not stay in bed a little bit longer. So tea is always the first thing that I will do in the morning. The specific tea that I will drink changes from day to day, but tea in general, it's a must for me. And then if you've seen any of my morning routine videos, you'll know that I will take our dog out, June, for her morning walk, just take care of her. After that is time for my self-care routine, if you will. If I have the time to do so, I will do a morning yoga practice, which can look anything from like 5 minutes to like, I want to say an hour, but realistically no. Not very often doing a full-on hour practice in the morning. Say somewhere between 5 and 30 or 40 minutes is realistic for me. I promised myself that I would just have to do 5 minutes. Like on days that I don't really feel like it, but I do have the time, just 5 minutes. Actually getting on that mat is the hardest part of building a consistent yoga routine for me, and I think for most people. So by promising yourself to just do 5 minutes, you are kind of getting yourself over that hurdle of stepping on the mat and actually starting. Because when you actually are kind of getting going, it is really easy to make that 5 minutes into 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like to kind of keep going for a little bit longer than just those 5 minutes. But even if I don't feel like it and I'm just laying there in a child's pose for 5 minutes, that is fine. That is absolutely okay. It still means that I showed up for myself and I took that time to nourish my body as well as my soul, because I think yoga really does have an influence on your body, on your mind and your soul. After my yoga practice, I will always sit down to write in my 5-year journal. Again, something that you've seen me doing so often if you watched any of my morning routine videos. I even shared this in my last video as well as taking a look at my vision board and then taking the time to meditate. Again, for the meditation, I promised myself just 5 minutes is what I have to do. And then if I want to keep on going, that is okay. I'll be honest, usually in the morning I will go for that 5 minutes and not keep going very long because my mind is racing in the morning. I am ready to get my day started. Like I said, I'm a morning person, and in the morning is when I do tend to have the most energy. From like halfway through the afternoon, that's basically where my energy really starts to dip. So morning through early afternoon, that's where my energy really peaks for me. So that does make it a bit harder to meditate in the morning. But I do notice such a difference if I do take the time to do so each morning. And I have actually done this for I think 2 years at this point. I actually keep track like on the app Insight Timer that I use to time my meditations. So I have meditated every single day for over 2 years. And it is one of the most valuable routines, rhythms that I have in my life. It is something that I noticed the biggest difference in my life if I do or do not do it, even though I have done this for so long at this point. If I maybe meditate later in the day, I really notice that. I really notice myself being more frazzled throughout the day until I actually do sit down and take those even just 5 minutes for myself, center my thoughts and just be with myself, meditate. It is the most valuable practice that I have in my life. I truly do believe that, at least for me. So yeah, I will take the time to do that, and then after that is basically when I get my day started. And I do want to quickly talk about it, like my morning routine is not a strict routine. It's more like a guideline that actually helps me to set me up for my best possible day. It is okay if I'm not doing every single step every single morning, or if I'm doing that for the same amount of time, or if I'm doing it at the same time each morning. That really does not matter. What really matters for me is that I do these things on a consistent basis. It is a rhythm, a routine in my life, and it's something that really nourishes me on a daily basis. And also by getting it in right at the start of the day, that means that I set myself up for a good day because I took the time to take care of myself first. I mean, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? It's something that we've all heard, and I truly think that is true. So I'm basically filling up my own cup at the start of each morning in order to really be my best self throughout the rest of the day. Then usually during breakfast, I will take the time to read a little bit. Again, the books that I read, it changes day to day, and that is okay. Just sitting down to enjoy a nourishing breakfast and to read, or if I'm having breakfast with my partner, to just be with him and not do anything. Like all of the distractions are gone, no phones, no books when we are having breakfast together usually, and that's usually on Sundays. But on the other days, I typically like to read a little bit with my breakfast. I also tend to enjoy my walks with June every single day. I basically always do her morning walks, and then most days I will also do her longer like midday walks and her shorter afternoon walks as well. But even though I don't always feel like doing this, it's actually really good for me. Like, it means that I am getting out consistently throughout my day. It means I'm getting the exercise from walking, and I just get to be present outside. I get to be with her, it's quality time, and I think that's super valuable as well. So that is also a rhythm throughout the days that I do really enjoy. Then something else that I think is so important is nourishing meals. I really notice a big difference in my energy levels throughout the day, as well as the days after I've eaten certain meals, and just how I feel in my body, depending on what I eat. I will also be honest that this changes through the seasons and even honestly through my menstrual cycle, depending on where I am at in my cycle, which is so interesting and is something that I actually want to dive into next year in a new series that I'll be bringing out, all about finding balance. I need some more tea. My tea's gone and I feel my throat kind of like, I need tea. Moment. I'm back with more tea. Okay, so I think we were talking about nourishing meals. I have pretty much the same breakfast most days. Just currently my chocolate overnight oats, which I make the morning of, so let's just say chocolate oats. I have shared this recipe before, so I'll make sure to link it for you. It's a nice nourishing breakfast that I absolutely love. I think breakfast is one of the most important days of the meal. Days of the meal? I think breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day. It will give you that energy boost to get your day started properly. So nourishing your body with good food at breakfast is such a good habit to have. Like I said, I love my oats in the morning. I have this with cocoa powder and then some blueberries usually. I like this both in the summer and in the winter. In the summer, sometimes I'll have it cold. In the winter, I definitely have this warm, and it is lovely. But I highly recommend for you to find a breakfast that you really enjoy having. That is also good for your body, that actually nourishes your body. And this is going to look different for everyone. I would say to try not have an overly sweet breakfast, in that don't have something with a ton of sugar in there maybe. I don't think that is the best way to get your day started. It kind of tends to spike your blood glucose levels a lot, and doing so right at the start of your day actually gives you higher chances of doing that throughout the day, which also gives you bigger energy dips throughout the day. I don't think that's an ideal start to your day. So something that's going to balance that a little bit more is definitely the way to go if you ask me. So going for a savory breakfast usually is the way to go. But yeah, even just having a porridge without adding like things like sugar or honey or something is a very good thing. However, if that is what you need to actually get it down, to even eat a breakfast, I mean, you do you. And then something that I really notice a big difference in as well is what I have for dinner at night. So in the winter, I definitely enjoy having heavier meals. I love things like stews and warming soups with some bread, and risotto also a lovely winter meal. So those are the kind of meals that I really enjoy having in the winter. Nice thing is that you can pack each and every one of them with vegetables and things that are so wholesome for your body, which is lovely. Again, I have shared different recipes throughout the 2 years actually that I've been doing this, so I'll try and link a few for you. And again, this is where it's really going to differ from person to person, what is going to work best for you. I definitely prefer a home-cooked meal. I notice a really big difference in how my body reacts to those, rather than like say takeout or something that is ready-made. I especially notice it in like my gut, how it feels, how I feel after a meal, and also how I feel the next day. I tend to feel much lighter and have much better energy throughout the next day if I had a wholesome, nourishing, home-cooked meal in the evening, rather than takeout or something that was like pre-made. So definitely prefer that. What we try to do is when I'm cooking, I will like double the batch and we will freeze part of it if it's freezable. Like soups and stews are perfect to freeze. So that kind of ensures that we have more wholesome meals like for us throughout the week, even if we don't have the time to cook something. Also, that doesn't mean that we never have like takeout or something. We definitely do, because it's still nice to have that every now and then. I mean, it just is. But as like a rule, let's have the home cooked meals definitely most of the time. And that brings us to the evening, where the middle of my day really tends to change and fluctuate depending on the day of the week, as well as just in general. Right now I have a very changeable schedule because of what I'm doing. I just like went full-time with my own business, so I'm really still trying to find the rhythms and routines that work for me in this phase of life. Definitely taking its toll in that way. I do enjoy kind of figuring out what works for me here. However, what hasn't changed are my evenings. Just like my mornings, I definitely have those non-negotiables in the mornings. I also have those in my evenings. My evenings are for me to wind down after a busy day, so I rarely plan anything in my evenings. I have learned very early on that I really don't like having to do anything in the later hours of the day, which includes no social plans and no work. Definitely no work. Personally, I love my evenings being calm and slow, just like my mornings actually. However, where my morning is all about getting me ready for the day and getting things started, my evenings are really about winding down. I love to have a nice warm shower, even though yes, a bath would be even better. I love baths, but we don't have one in this apartment, so definitely something on the wish list for a future home. But a nice warm shower and then just reading in bed. If it's up to me, I'll be in bed at like 7 p.m. and just enjoy my last hours reading in bed. That is pretty much my ideal evening. Sometimes also just scrolling up on the couch where maybe my partner and or June are, which is really nice and cozy. But for in general, like I like to be in bed early with a book and just take the time to read, just enjoy that nice slow time for myself. And then usually I'll be going to sleep around 9 o'clock. I know that may sound very early to most people, but like I said, I'm a morning person. I wake up in the morning easily around 6 o'clock without any problem, without any alarm, sometimes also earlier. So I'm going to bed like at 9 o'clock. That's when I want to go to sleep. Maybe I will not fall asleep right away, but usually somewhere between 9 and 9:30 I'll be asleep, and that is glorious. I love that. I like my sleep. So taking those final hours of my day really nice and calm, and again to really nourish myself, are a really nice way to wind down and actually help me have a good night's sleep. I really have noticed a difference in how I end my day and then the sleep that I will have that night. It really is like there's a difference there for sure. Also how I'll feel the next morning. And again, this is something that I will be going into even further in a video next year that I've planned for you, which will be all about sleep hygiene basically, and really optimizing your sleep. But for now, it's a routine that I've really been enjoying and in which I do notice a big difference. If I, for example, have a later class in the evening that I need to teach, I really notice that it's taking me some effort to wind down after that. It's not ideal for me. I don't have great energy while teaching the class because it is later in the day. But also coming home, my stress levels are up. I need the time to really wind down and calm myself back down in order to actually get to sleep. So that's something I don't love personally. So yeah, early mornings and just taking the time to really wind down after the day are so valuable. It's a rhythm and a routine, again, that really helps me and it sets me up for a good day the next day. And like I said, this sets me up to actually being able to wake up early the next day, which is when I will feel my best if I have a earlier start to the day. And that way I can also enjoy that slow morning without any stress, which again will set me up for a much more calm and productive rest of the day. So yeah, those were just some rhythms and routines in my day-to-day life that really help me live a life that I enjoy, a life in which I can lower my stress as much as possible and just live that slow paced life that I enjoy so much and in which I put a lot of value. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also let me know what are some rhythms and routines that you enjoy in your daily life to really set you up for like the best day and just the best life you can possibly have. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Also, I'm going to ask you that if you do enjoy content like this, subscribe to my channel. We are so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers, which would allow me to actually monetize this channel. And I am not so secretly hoping to get there before the end of this year. So if you are willing to help me get there and you're enjoying my content, please help out and subscribe to my channel. It would mean the absolute world to me. With that, I wish you a lovely rest of your day and I will see you in my next video. Bye!